Hi, everybody. All right, so today Jennifer's back, and I think the last time we did a video was last November. I can't believe it's been that long, but we both had our own stuff going on and had no time, and then the time just became right to do another update. So we get together on occasion, as many of you know, and we basically just catch up with each other. But what we realized is that some people enjoy our conversation just about the topics we discuss as personal friends. So you're just getting the raw, unfiltered us having a conversation about kind of everything spiritual. She comes from, as many of you know, a very, how do I want to explain this? Like, I'm getting the word sophisticated, like very quantum, galactic level of conversation, which most of you know with me is I take that and I kind of bring it down, I'll just say to earth to make it really understandable and applicable to the day to day. But we both say the same thing typically. So it's kind of fun to get together and talk, and it's always very high vibe. However, this time you're going to have to put up with me having my laptop about fall off my desk and then us losing connection like 3 times. It's actually kind of funny. But anyway, it's just a comedy of errors this time around. But there's some good discussion in there, kind of updating on where we're at with things, and hopefully that will help you, get, again, like I always say with these videos, more puzzle pieces for the puzzle of your own journey and helping you understand collectively what's happening out there. Because we have a tendency, obviously, to get, I don't want to say wrapped up in our own individual journey, but it can feel really isolating. We don't know, am I experiencing, things that are of the same nature as other people that are going through this awakening journey and that are consciously aware? So I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside. Hopefully you'll find a few interesting nuggets in our conversation today that you can take with you as well. So just a quick update. These, just kind of from my perspective, but also from what I know with some other people that I have been talking to. And I'm wondering how you're feeling. June energetically has been, I feel like I gotten punched in the gut, so to speak, right? I have never experienced the level of physical energy, well, with the exception of these nighttime things that I was having, I've told you about, that's different. It's totally different. This is more the energetic shift and change of the ascension journey that's upgrading our physical body cellularly, also allowing us to adjust to the new frequencies coming in. Because basically what we do is these new frequencies come in many ways, as we've talked. We know that. The solstice is a big one. We've got solar flares, all of that. But these frequencies will come in, and then, kind of depending on where we're at, the work we've done, where we're at in our journey of shedding things that don't serve us, all of that, we can, to one degree or another, have a swimmingly beautiful experience, like swim in the energies, but and we can also at times have very difficult bodily experiences, all right? Aches and pains, just like fatigue, a lot of that. So that's what's happening now for me and many others I've noticed, more so than any other time I've noticed. Now remember, we're shutting the door on this 6 months. If you remember the June energy update, for those of you who are new, you might want to listen to the June energy update. We're shutting the door in the first 6 months, which it really feels, and that's as of the solstice, around this time. We're kind of just like whatever we've been working on that also can include our whole past. It's like shutting the door so that the rest of the year, and I don't need to repeat the video, but we can move into creative expansion for the rest of the year, whatever that looks like for us individually. But what we've got there within that is all these energies that are showing up for us, and we have to accommodate them, okay? Some of us feel like we're running into a wall. Others, and we're all different because our bodies are all different in many ways, right? Been through different things. Our chakras are all different. So we right now, what I'm noticing with people is this round in June, which is massive, more than any other month I've seen so far, where it is affecting us bodily in a way of a lot of fatigue and a lot of aches and pains and joint issues. So that's where what I have had happen as well. Aches and pains, joint issues. You would think, honestly, the way I'm feeling, I would think I have some terrible arthritis problem. I know I don't, but it has been not just a day or two, it's been like the whole last week and a half. And it's at certain times throughout the day. I'll feel good for a while and then I won't. The fatigue also shows up, typically mid afternoon, whatever. I'm very curious as to what you're noticing with June. June has been, oh, they just showed fireworks. Yeah. Oh, but they're saying, oh, that's cute. Okay. They just said fireworks, but it's lighting you up inside, like the sparklers. The sparklers are inside. It's just like shifting and changing cellularly. So anyway, just curious how things have been going. That's really what I'm noticing. I'm being told as well. Not like I need to be told because I'm feeling it and I'm hearing it from so many other people. Anyway, just know it's all part of this journey that we're on. It's just the energies are getting stronger and stronger, and we're needing. Okay, they just said. So they just showed me a visualization. They said swimming against the tide. They said in many ways it's going to feel like swimming against the tide because it's just hard. It's hard, like you're slogging through, right? Swimming against the tide. Okay. Okay, but they're talking about reaching the gentle flow. So we'll talk about that whenever that shows up, right? And we're all, like I said, in different places with this, but typically within the same, I don't want to say the same process, but lots of us are in this stage now where we're incorporating these much higher frequency energies. And there will be times where we're going to feel amazing, and there are going to be times where we're just feeling kind of like now in June, getting ready for something big, like elevating. Oh, they just said elevating ourselves for the rest of the year. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today. I'm going to get oh gosh, we got the solstice next week, right? On the 20th, 21st, 20th, 21st. Anyway, needless to say, around the world, that is, my hope is to have a little channel come through for you right around that time. So be watching for that as well. And for those of you who are new, thank you so much for joining me today. I am Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, a distance energy healer, and a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer my services and these videos to help you along in your awakening, ascension, and your life journey. So reach out to me if you'd like at purplerainhealing.com. You can see where all of my services are and understand a little bit more about my story and how I got to where I am today. But with that, I'm going to send you over to listen to Jennifer and me in our, just like I said, just a personal conversation we have. And hopefully you will take something away from it that will be helpful to your journey. So thank you so much for being here today. If you would like, share, and subscribe, that'll help me reach more people. Because as we know, people are waking up, but it's like not everybody's finding the right place to go. So again, if you feel that you're getting something out of this, sharing with those you know who are going through the journey, or anyone you feel might be interested, that would be really helpful too in helping them out. All right, everybody, I'm going to send you on over, and then I will just plan on seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and even though we're talking about man, we got kind of a little bit of a butt kick this last few months
Cool.
on these, and we haven't been able to connect.
Right.
Too, and I think that even when you're out looking for these really high vibrational, really harmonic, nice frequencies, like you'll listen to them or whatever to try to help get your body in order, I think that there is a counter to that as well. When you're at, even when you're really high, there's always balance going on. So I think even in the distressed tone or stressed out or whatever issue I might be having, it's going to come through in the tone of my voice, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm talking about that in a conversation, and here it makes the field more vast in its ability to find its counter and help each other balance out, I think. So even not necessarily want to get together and complain, but just saying it out loud, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I'm finding this to be something, I'm not really sure why. And all of a sudden, it's just like the perfect corrective energy might come rush in and just wash over it. And you're like, ooh, that's nice.
Yes.
When you're having a conversation, right? So
yeah. Rather than when we're in our heads, thinking about it all the time and swimming in it as an individual.
Agree.
There's something about that collective sharing, and I don't mean commiserating, but I think it's sharing the experience, and I think it's important. I do think it's important.
It's validating in a way.
Yeah.
And it gives you, I think it keeps you, like you said, when people are very in their head, like I am, tend to be
Me
more
too.
introverted when I have a problem,
Me
because
too.
I'm not really big about going and sharing all my problems with another person.
No,
I'm kind of quiet, and I marinate in it probably too much,
me too.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that is a sense of just expressing a little bit more, not necessarily to lay it at the feet of somebody else, but to say it out loud. And
Yes.
it's not like a validation. And then I think that helps as well.
How have you been? Like,
Well,
what's going on with you?
it's really interesting. There's so many different things that have come through that are just mind opening, that have really just pushed the boundaries, the limits of what we have settled for as our reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that there is just, and I, whether we've ever said it or heard it before and thought, oh, that's going to be neat, like nothing will be the same, it'll be so different. When you start getting a taste or a glimpse of it, you will start understanding. I mean, nothing is the same. And it's like, okay, can we go kind of a smooth transition into it? I don't think so anymore. I thought maybe we'll kind of just glide. There is a transition, but it's going to take bravery.
Yep.
It's going to take courage.
Yep.
And it's going to take almost the stripping away to the point of you just give up and say, God damn it, I can't save anything anymore. It's almost heartbreaking, and it's almost grieving to not care about anything
No.
in this life. And it's hard because we care. We think,
Yes.
oh, we're going to go and do this new thing, and my family and my kids are going to come with me, right? And I think they're somehow going to drag this dead carcass of a reality into the next one, right?
Yeah.
You said,
Right.
no,
No. Right.
it's hard to just, but now it's almost to the point where you have to be pushed to the breaking point where you just throw your hands up and say,
No.
I don't care anymore.
No, it's true.
And then it goes.
I think that's actually where like the straw that breaks the camel's back,
I
where
think so.
we let go of all expectation, we let go of all trying to force our way through to,
Yes.
it doesn't mean we don't still create and in our day to
Yeah.
day, it's less of this idea of how we've always done things, of like
Mhm.
making things perfect or making things our way or having certain expectations, particularly about how things will be, what's going to be planned out in the future, what our goals are. A lot of that just kind of has fallen apart. And the more we let go of it, the more that energy of the universe helping us create the future is allowed in.
Yes. And there's very surprising things, beautiful things that are just, you know, I don't know if do you know who Taylor Swan is? Taylor
I
Swan,
don't think
the
so.
speaker. Okay, well, I was listening to her the other day and I thought, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been experiencing. And I thought, what a beautiful way to have said it. She was talking about a technology, a sentient technology. And like our artificial intelligence is not the intelligence that is in what we perceive as artificial intelligence, is not a non-sentient, but it's also, and it has nothing to do with being man-made, but it is a sentient. So all of the technology that we have, that we use, most all of it, is based and supported by a sentient so-called technology. Okay, it's a being. Okay, so for us to try to capture that technology and control it and force it to behave a certain way through our society or through our use is like slavery of the technology.
Yes. Okay. God.
You agree?
Oh my God, I got so excited. My laptop almost fell off the desk. I'm not kidding. I got all wrapped up in the cord. Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so okay, I just gotta add this because what they have told me before is that, and they kind of use robots as the example, but essentially, and I think this is what they're saying, is that the slavery part, like in other words, we need to respect this technology in the sense of like it's a conscious, sentient
Yes.
being because we've infused in many ways, our own consciousness into the creation of that, right? And that it actually has that energy, if you want to just call it energy or some level of consciousness, where yes, it
Well,
needs to be treated like you
yes,
would another, I'll just say, like you should treat everything. Right?
respect. And
Yeah.
it's not even our consciousness that we've infused to it. We've infused our consciousness in the uses for it,
Yes. Yes.
but
Yes.
it has its own consciousness, whether
Yes.
we exist or not, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's
Okay, so I see what the difference is there. Yes. Okay, so they've said that before, is that the conscious, it has its own consciousness, and then there's this idea that as we connect with it, we add that energy to it, if that makes sense.
right. Yes, and it has to be, if you can allow, if our ego or construct can allow us to have a co-creative, coalescing, equal, consenting on both sides relationship with it, the sky's the limit.
Yes.
But if we try to control it, we're actually asking it to allow us to dumb it down so we can apply it in a way that it might not want to be applied,
Yeah,
right?
like if we abuse it, if we
Right.
all the stuff we do to each other, we could do to it,
Right.
you know?
Right. Or use technology to abuse each other,
Yeah.
right? And it would be like, I don't want to do that, right? So I think that I'm saying it like my mind is really open and always has been. Really, it's not closed to it. I'm not resisting it, but I'm not really. It kind of like reminded me a little bit like there is so much more to reality, to what is, than what we have come to expect.
Oh yeah.
And there is relationship with technology, right?
Uh-huh.
There is a beautiful organic technological feeling sentient being, right?
Mhm.
um, there are all of these ways that we can tune our, and it doesn't have to be, oh, just the body I was created with or that I'm in now. It's like, you know what, you as a creator being or as a cooperative, um and not trying to be in competition with,
Mhm.
you can tune yourself to have almost, just about anything you want. So but it has a lot to do with breaking down your and not allowing your resistance or control or the fear of losing something,
Mhm.
or looking at something that seems absolutely fantastic and saying, that's what I want and I will get it no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Losing the sight of what is so much better than that. Right there, they're looking right at it. They can't see the rest of it, right? It's so much better than that. So it's saying, ooh, that's pretty. That inspired me. And then let it go. I don't have to own it. I don't
Yes.
have to have it. I don't have to remember it. I don't have to
That's
get a
the heavy
degree in it.
energy. That's the
Yeah.
heavy energy, that owning it, possessing it, wanting it, desiring it, and that thing. But to your point, it's the observing of it and recognizing it, and then letting that part, rest of that go.
Yes. And just say, appreciating it for whatever it is that inspires you or makes you desire it in the first place. Appreciate that. It's beautiful. I love that. It makes me feel good. And then let it go. You don't have to possess it.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And we do
So
so much of that
it's
in our
really
life.
hard for, we collect things. We're collectors or we're hoarders, we accumulate stuff. We place value on objects.
We envy other people that have those objects. We
Like as
create
if
all
there's not
kinds
enough, right? And it's not right. It's not correct.
we create all kinds of energy around that too. Think about that. All
Mhm.
kinds of not great energy around envy, and desire, and wanting, and
Yeah, and I think it's amazing. It's a incredible energy, uh, uh, creative energy. It's a builder energy. It's kind of a masculine builder energy of manifestation to want something, but you have to want it with like it's here and it's gone, and then there's so much of it that it's not a problem, right? It doesn't own you for the wanting of it, if that makes
oh, I
sense.
like that. It doesn't own you for the wanting of it. That's such a great statement.
Mhm.
It doesn't own you for the wanting of it. Yeah, because that is the difference, is
Yeah.
that it's kind of like that observer effect. You know what I mean? Like observing the thing and being, well, like now what they just gave me as a metaphor is like you go to an art gallery and you're observing the beautiful piece of art, right?
Mhm.
And you're
Mhm.
getting to see the beauty and the enjoyment, but you're not going to take the piece of art with you.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's
Right.
going to stay in the museum. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like being able to
That's
infuse that energy, the beauty, the experience of that you had in that moment versus
key. What you said,
owning the thing.
experience. Yes. Having the experience of it.
Yeah,
And that's enough. And knowing that you don't have to own the object to
right,
have the experience. And you don't have to, the object doesn't need to be mutual or exclusive to you having the experience either, right?
right.
So it's
Oh, you know what they just said? I'll interject this real quick. They said you can have the enjoyment of it through the enjoyment that others have of it.
also, yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah. You
I mean,
can,
think about how often you can, like most people or a lot of people get really tickled when they see other people enjoying something and like having
yeah,
fun. And
especially kids. Mhm.
yeah, and that's a beautiful gift in itself. That's a great way to observe and enjoy through someone else's experience and not
Yeah,
having to own the experience.
yes. And there's some aspect to it as well, letting go of how it should be enjoyed by another, or because this is how they say for everybody looks at things from a different perspective as the observing, but also the energy of the observer observing it. Say if it was a fixed control, they notice that sometimes the result is different and it's affected. If the item is a control, it does not change, but different people observe it, the results will be different because it's changed by the energy of who's observing it.
Yeah.
So keeping like all of these things in mind of the unfolding of it and what is possible,
Mhm.
and releasing the rigidity of thinking that it must be a certain way, or how I experienced it would be how they experience it, or what it would mean if they react to something differently than I did.
Right.
And that so it allows you to start dropping judgment,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Jump. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was gonna just to say after you said this was that's what it's about. And that changes up the energy. If you
Yes.
can just observe it without any like filtering
Mm-hmm.
and just have that you can actually interject what they're saying is your self. Oh God, this is so cool. You can interject yourself through another person's experience into the experience that they're having without having to own the thing. So does that make sense? Like where you're able to like you're watching somebody experience something, you can actually be able to this is pretty metaphysical, but you can be the experiencer through them. It's a collective thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, I think it has a collective uh, results. It has a collective effect on like the unified field, the collective consciousness, and it does have a effect on you even in a subconscious state, or even at your subconscious level. Um, so doing experiencing through somebody else, I think is amazing. If they're an allowance to it, right? I think experiencing through others, if they're not like a voyeur
Yeah.
or somebody who maybe wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
invited,
yeah.
that's kind of some of the energy that I've struggled with in the last few months myself. Is there is a almost a voyeur energy that is overstepping their boundaries, and so there's a pushback of you're not allowing me to enjoy mine because you want to be in it so much through me.
Well, that's
You want to,
interesting.
yeah. So there's enough to go around. You don't have to come through mine in order
Oh,
to
that's
have.
interesting. So,
So
and I was thinking more from the idea of like, and I was thinking of this, they were really giving me this, like when you're seeing people laughing and having fun, and
yes,
you like kind of turn to that and like you can feel
yes,
that and it makes you feel what they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? Through
yeah,
hearing the laughter and the fun and the joy, and I'm
right,
thinking like and particularly like with kids, like seeing kids have fun and that level of energy, being able to experience that like joy of being a child again kind of thing through their
yes,
eyes.
right. Oh, I agree. I think it's amazing. I mean, it's a balance, like I'm saying, it's a
Yeah.
balance. So
Yeah.
as we talk about how this kind of really neat dynamic of energy and how energy can coalesce in a really beautiful way that's mutually beneficial.
Yep.
It's all about balance. We always go back to balance. And there can be some things when we start feeling discomfort that are out of balance
Right. Right.
and feel, okay, where's that coming from? Right.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm not
think of like,
sure what that kind of along the lines of what you've experienced, what kind of the energetic, where are you at as far as I'd like to hear a little bit about what's been happening with you,
uh,
just to get an idea of where you're at in the collage of things that maybe I've had experiences with too, just as kind of as a collective understanding.
yeah. And I've had this in I've been keeping people updated on YouTube, kind of what's been going on because a lot of learning has
Oh,
come from it for other people. But
okay.
in a quick summary, um, how do I summarize this? So what happened to me last July that continued up through October, October timeframe. Hold on, I need to shut my window. It's getting very windy here.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
okay. Anyway, it came roaring back in January. Those energetic events were basically what I've learned is a couple things were going on is that I learned I'm a collective clearer. I know I do that. I kind of knew it, but I thought it wasn't anything I had to really deal with. I do. So I basically have learned how to fortify myself and I don't want to say fortify, kind of, but to make sure I'm a clear vessel, because I had all these energies running through me. I have a gazillion examples, very specific of somebody's trauma running through me and me
Yes.
having to process it in the middle of the night. It's always the same experience.
Yeah.
But over time, it came roaring back in January because I had more work to do. Also, weren't doing my practices, needed more advanced practices. Um, it was very mentally and physically exhausting. That said, fast forward, I ended up with, well, it's actually a meditation that I shared on YouTube.
Okay.
It's changed everything for me. Anyway, that has been a game changer for me because what it has done is allowed me to, first of all, ground in my body, at the
Yes.
same time, bring in the highest frequency I can. That's the second phase. And then the third phase is clearing all my chakras in a way that is like
Yes.
pretty profound. Anyway, and then within that, receiving regular energy clearings that are identifying what's around me and what I might not notice and that I need to be cleared on regularly because I'm literally like I go out like a beacon in the night and then but I've learned and I said this in March I said but I think what's going to happen and this was before I was well it's going to be like water rolling off a duck's back and I said this is going to be done by April and it was like water rolling off a duck's back now unless I'm in a place where I can't maintain my own frequency. I'll just say I'm learning how to do that
Yes.
and then I don't even notice it but surrounding all of that's coming my way to clear, I also have got to keep my practices up. So I'm now in a space where I'm vibing regularly pretty darn high. And in that sense of being able to like stay with
Mhm.
that field that's strong. And I feel really good about the practices I'm doing, but it's taken a year. I'm over two different episodes or major episodes. Um, and some of that stuff back in July,
Yes.
a lot of my own stuff, right? But it was a staged effect. And now it was getting me to the point where I can collectively clear and
Yes.
not have it impact me. And so when I go out in the world, and I have very specific examples, I think I did share some of them with my audience. I may not have all of them, but there are a couple more I want to share. Anyway, that have solidified all of this story for me. Anyway, so that's I know for the audience, if we do publish this as a video, it's a repeat, but it's actually a good repeat given we're having this conversation. So yeah, I have yeah, that's where I am today, basically. I can
Yeah.
actually every morning I wake up and I have my practice, and the first thing I say is thank you for
Mhm.
a full night's rest. because
Yes.
I'm not waking up to a profound energy coming in and like obliterating me for that hour.
Yeah. You know, it's sleep is kind of like the same time for me. I can do really well during the day. And then sleep is, I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, I wake up with issues. And where that used to be the other way around, sleep always was so energizing, so clearing, so beautiful for me.
Yeah.
And then I'd wake up and the day would be a little bit more difficult. It's the other way around now. But you know, when you were talking about your collective clearer, and I find like when I go out shopping or whatever, um, I'm seen, people see themselves in me as almost like a mirror. So it's almost like I'm a collective mirror. So it's a little different, but I'm not really sure. It's interesting how you would be as a clearer and I'm as an almost like a mirror effect. So um so it's confusing for some people, and I've noticed this before. I think I've mentioned it to you that sometimes with people in general, a lot of times they'll either love me so much or they will not like me. It is no middle ground. So they love me or they hate me. And I kind of have gone through life like noticing that my human interaction with them had very little to do with whether they love me or hate me. I would stay the same, and then they would just be one or the other, hot or cold. And I thought, I don't understand that quite right. But then I realized that I'm a mirror. So it's really how they feel
Oh.
about themselves.
Oh.
So if I'm kind of like showing them what's in there, you know, what's in all
Right.
your stuff, right?
Right.
And they either love it or they don't. And so and then they behave towards me in whatever way they feel about themselves.
Oh,
So
that makes so much sense in what I'm getting. That makes so
mhm,
much sense. That's what you do. Yes, you do. Oh, you do very much.
yeah,
What I realized too within all this, as I've been going through this whole last year, you remember when we first started working together back in the
mhm,
day, I didn't have anybody else that was having your experiences, the extreme, and I'm like, and then I started having them last July in a way that like very similar to you. You had a greater understanding though and connection as to what was going on. I had to trudge my way through, even though I knew it was for a higher purpose, it was still like with you, mentally and physically traumatizing as you
yes,
experienced with the
yes, it was.
extreme events that you had. And then I'm like, oh God, the same thing's happening to me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In our own unique way, but very similar stuff.
Hmm. And I think that it's in a way, I've always known that I'm coming from a different standpoint to the group. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have that experience. Some people are talking. I was coming. It's almost like I was coming to it, or it was coming to me from a different way. We were coming together to meet in the middle. I wasn't with the group. I was coming to meet them somehow.
Oh God, you just froze. You'll come back.
And feel this crazy pain and anxiety and strife, but I know that it's actually not my vessel primarily that's feeling it. It's me feeling someone else's body being.
Yes.
So I'm feeling it like the mirror because I
Yeah.
know it's not mine. I don't, I'm not bleeding. I don't have bruises. I don't have, um, like what I felt. I don't have that, but I,
No, exactly. So what happened to me? Oh God, you froze again. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking because you're gonna come back. And the video is gonna be
it's
weird.
very,
Okay, you froze. I was gonna tell you is, are you there?
now you're frozen. There
Okay.
you are.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, okay, so what I was going to tell you with that is exactly what happened with me, and I won't get into the specific detail. I don't want to,
Mhm.
well, it's not boring, obviously. I actually would have individual people that I knew I ran into. I would then have knowings when I got home in the middle of the night when the thing would happen. I'm like, oh my God, I'm processing their thing. Like a homeless person a young man that was homeless and got pointed out to me and then found me energetically, as we know. And I processed in my mind, which was not fun,
Yeah.
that night, his tendency to not want to be here. And so I get what you're talking about. That's exactly it. You know it's not you. And
Yeah. You definitely know it's not you, but it's in a highly empathetic way. I mean, it's like empathy on
Oh,
steroids,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
very, yeah.
Now, one thing I want to make a comment on, since we're kind of in this conversation, the two of us have had similar experiences. Not everybody's going to have this happen. I'm going to just tell you right now, because what I have understood, and you can correct me if you know something different, not everybody's going to have these traumatic kinds of mental, emotional, physical experiences like we've had. There's a subset of us that, and this is what I'm getting with you and me, work on that collective level. Because you work in it in a little different way, but I work on that collective level that it would be more common for those to experience that. But we don't know that we're that. Do you know what I mean? Like we have to find our way there. So it's not everybody that's going to experience things that I don't want to freak people out that, oh God, this is coming my way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it is or not, but you'll get through it if it is. But regardless, it's not everyone. Does that make sense to you?
Totally makes sense. And it's also the infusion of a lot of different energies together.
Yeah.
It's not just this one thing we're doing. And this
Oh.
is, it's one of the can occur when you have the infusion of different eclectic energies, right? So even if you think of us as ultimately one, when we are in separation, even if you think about them coming back to one, it's just a different state of being. Okay. So if they were to come back to one, it would be almost like a rejoining
Yes.
of energies. So you would have many beautiful energies coming in. Some of they are, they had a different experience. And some super high, beautiful energy to somebody who's coming in with maybe a lower vibrational energy.
Well, you just froze again.
Intellectual energy, the love light might not feel good to them.
Yeah, you know what I just heard as you're talking about this? They're showing me this. Okay, they just said colliding. Colliding. So you get your high vibration. I don't know, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say you are running into, because we know high vibration, blah, blah, blah. You're running into somebody who's really struggling, right? And you don't even know it. You've crossed their paths, blah, blah, blah. But what they're showing is this high vibration, someone really, really struggling, energetically speaking, in their journey. But the collectiveness of that is the colliding of the energies. And what they're showing is that when this all happens, the colliding of those energies, okay, this isn't going to make any sense. We have to find our way to each other. Is that making any sense to you? Like, in other words, those vibrations, like in a way, we are, I'm just going to talk because I think I'm channeling. Well, I know I am. We find our way to each other. In other words, we're actually part of finding those people, right? That we are needing to assist in that journey. They're finding us too, but it's a finding that vibrational match to then link up to be able to become the higher vibration overall. I don't think I'm making any sense with what I'm trying to say. Is this making any sense to you? Oh my God, we're back. Oh, can you
We
hear me?
always blow. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
I
me?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We you know
Did
how
you even
we
hear did you even hear what I said about
I, mhm.
the meeting of the vibration and the
Oh, yes, and something came to me when you were saying that was so like, okay, so you're saying even something that's struggling. This made me think of the thing we were talking about earlier about that technology, sentient technology. And there's so many other different kinds of sentient being. There's so much things that you really hadn't even thought of as being part of your experience necessarily that are um, that aren't struggling, but they are coming in clean. They may be ancient. They're coming in clean. They're not necessarily um, burdened with a construct like the human construct, with the mind, body, soul construct, and all the stuff, the struggle, the burdens that go along with being in a human form. They might be coming in clean where they don't even have conversation, right? They don't, what for, right? They wouldn't even, they're coming in clean. That energy to us might feel like they're struggling. And they actually aren't struggling. They are perfectly pure, coming in to meet us in the procession of what we're trying to do for humankind.
Yes.
And we feel like we are in the love, light, high vibration, feeling good, and we hit it and go, oh,
Yes.
they're struggling. But I think what it is we have, in the process of doing the high vibe, love, and light, we have maybe shrunk our spectrum so we can be in love and light. And I think what the challenge is when we get to the high vibe, we don't just tune to the high vibe. We take the low vibe and we alchemize it.
Yes.
Because we can take low vibe and alchemize it to the high vibe, our spectrum is the whole thing. That way, when this beautiful, pure energy comes in, it doesn't feel like
That's it. Oh God, you froze again.
that. And how beautiful does that feel, right?
Yes.
Am I frozen again?
Yeah, you did quickly, and now you're back.
Sorry.
Just gonna, you know what they just showed me? They bring Jesus, Yeshua, in a lot for whatever reason for me. And they said that's what he did. That's what he did. This is the I am thing. We're able to, like he did, alchemize those energies. That's exactly it. That's exactly it, without taking them into ourselves fully.
Yes, and it's alchemy. It's not even it's not as hard as like taking, like scrubbing down an energy. It is an alchemization of a balance sequence of spectrum of, so it's just like taking a larger spectrum of energy, and when you take it, when you allow it in balance, it's very easy to then feel these different ones come, and you've upgraded all your tech to the point where you can receive it without it feeling crash.
Yes. Okay, that's what's happened with me, and you just use different language. I've upgraded my tech to be able to have the same stuff coming to me, but half the time I don't know it, or I'll know it, but it's a much more fluid process of me alchemizing that, or whatever, however you balancing it, or whatever you want to call that. Yes.
Okay.
Why? I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting anything unstable on my end. It's just weird. Normally I'll get.
I think we're upgrading our tech.
Oh God, I never thought about that. Okay, yeah, that's kind of where we left off, didn't we? Yeah, I was talking about upgrading our tech. But I don't remember.
I thought
Where were we?
probably trying to upgrade our tech. We were talking about how you open your spectrum and you upgrade your tech.
Oh, yeah.
You're able to.
Yeah, I guess we need a real tech upgrade, don't we?
We did. I went through a point where I got hurt so much that I just closed down everything. And I was like, oh my God, I can't take it. I can't take it.
Me too.
And I think that was like all of these energies saying, hey, we're here. It's time, hello. I'm like, I can't do it, because I think I was feeling, I love all kinds of frequency. I love expanded, huge, vast. I love it. I've always felt beautiful, all these different, and for some reason I couldn't take it. It was hurting me too much. I thought, this is wrong in so many ways, but I can't stand the pain. And I realized it wasn't the pain of my body, because I can do it. It's my energy being. It was the pain I was feeling from the collective, not being able to integrate these big, huge energies.
Yes.
And they were showing up to me. I can't handle it. Yes. And I'm here as the one who can bring it, right?
That's me.
But it shows up to me and the mirror at the same time. And I went, oh my God, because I felt it, how as a mirror, how the collective was going to feel it.
You just summarized.
Bad.
You just summarized exactly what was happening to me. Our experiences were a little bit different, but absolutely. Yes. Yep.
And so honestly, I had to get myself to let, okay, get this off me. Oh my God, this hurts so bad. I can't stand it. I'm trying to put my spectrum back out big at the same time. I'm not trying to get hurt. Right. I'm trying, okay, I'm here. Come on in, oh my God.
Yeah. So that was like me. Okay.
Channel these energies into the collective, and I'm trying to do it because I love the way that feels, but it didn't feel good hitting the collective. So
no. And that is exactly what happened with me, in that when we'll just continue as the homeless young man, When his energy came in, it was like there were two pillars inside of me. Human Carolyn going, "Oh yeah, I know what this is. I know what this is. This is scary and kind of, but I know it's not me. These aren't my thoughts. These aren't the." And then him. And so when you think about that's like the individual, but that's the same thing you just said,
Yes.
literally. Like I knew it wasn't me. It was his energy running through me in that sense and me being the processor of it for him. But also realizing, I mean, like you said, your
Uh,
human self is still able to understand what's going on, even though it's not feeling good.
yeah, yeah. And it's to the point sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this is not acceptable. It's too much to ask,
Yeah.
with some of the pain. And I think, now how do I process it? How do I look at this? How do I comprehend it in a way that makes sense? Because I know, okay, I know this isn't my pain. So how do I stop feeling it and still do me, right?
Right. And I think
Um,
it's important for people to understand too. We have a tendency to think that all of what we feel is our stuff. Sometimes it's not, per what we've experienced, and starting to realize, and that I think is also why it's so important to this journey is that it's this inner journey of understanding who we are, how we feel, is ours, what isn't. Because when these things happen, the ability to go, wait, that's not me. I know me. I know that's not me. Something else is going on here, that we can be collective clearers. We can be processing other people's things as we are, frontline light workers as such, and we're doing our
right.
own work and doing our journey. We're growing our field. That may be one of our things we're doing for the collective mission.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think too, I'm not I don't like to say, pain's all part of it. I don't like that.
no,
I don't think it needs to be. But I do feel that when you are secure in yourself and you know that you have expanded your energy, not just because you think you're doing a job here, but because your being likes it. You
yeah,
have a huge expanded energy. You have a huge spectrum. You're vast in your, whatever. You know that about yourself. Um, you can, I think, be more particular in what you accept as your responsibility and what is not. Because I think to be yourself, it's presence. Your presence is the gift that you are sharing in a sense. You don't even have to say it as sharing, just being you. That is truly what, if you want to call it work, which you're not required to do, if you want to call it that, that would be what you would be doing. So I think sometimes when this excessive burden or energy, or that you start to feel like you're being drugged down and you are compromising your own good feeling of being yourself,
mhm.
I don't think it's inappropriate at all to back it up. Say,
Yeah,
hold on,
yeah.
mine is more important no matter what's going on. I'm not
Assuming you can,
sacrificing
yeah,
myself for
yeah.
a perceived ascension or
Well,
a,
and that's kind of
you know,
another part of the conversation. And I've
mhm.
only got about 5 minutes left because I have to be somewhere else at 1:30. So I question as to whether we have a choice or not. And I
Yeah.
know that,
Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, does it?
yeah, and but not to go. So I don't mean to switch subjects, but I do want to
No.
just kind of quickly, just kind of like go to like what's happening now for
Yeah.
us, like, and not just us, but like in general, like how, because we haven't really been talking about. We haven't talked lately, right? And so it's kind of like what's happening out there in the collective, like the all of what's happening galactically, all that. I just wondered if you have anything you want to share, kind of what your knowledge is, what you, because they hear from me all the time.
Right.
Kind of fun to get your perspective on things. You come from a little bit of a different, I don't want to say a different place. We say the same thing, but we say it a little differently.
Uh,
Just curious as to what your guidance has been, if you want to share. And if you don't, we'll just keep talking about the other stuff. So,
okay. That's so, that's hard for me to
and you
do.
got 5 minutes. You got five
Uh,
minutes.
it's
That's it.
it's so funny because I'm like looking at everything from time. I used to look at it a lot more like, okay, that goes with that, and that was this time period. Everything happens all at once. I'm seeing it and understanding more and more that everything that was created in a moment. Like
Yep.
they will kind of think of it as a Big Bang, maybe.
We talked about that
Every
one time.
Now there's multiples, so it doesn't mean that everything is in one. There were multiple bangs, so to speak, and they're overlapping each other now. So things that you didn't even have any conscious awareness of or participation in your human form, all of those things are starting to slide together, like almost like as plates. They're all coming back together. And so stuff that you're like, I didn't even know that existed. That's part of one of those. And it all happened in one thing. So when I say something like it doesn't know how to stop because it all already happened, right? So as it comes back, it's like, okay, you might zig and zag through it. But all of these huge creations, there's many, many, many huge creations that are coming back into coming back to their origin point. And I mean, I'm not talking like the origin point of this one or that one or the source of this one or that one. I mean, the origin point.
Can I stop you? I want to add something. What I'm
Yes.
getting as you're talking is that also means that it's the end of some things. Their origin point is the inception point, but it's the finishing point. It's like their 0 point. It's gone idea. Is that making any sense to you?
It is. And it's an unknown energy. It is the beginning and the end, if you want to think of it from a concept of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Because time has bookends, right? Beginning and the end. There are some things that don't have bookends. It's a very obscure, like you feel out of control in the energy, right? But it is also coming to its origin. So you have these energies that are kind of overlapping. You can feel these very, but there is a one energy. There is a one energy, and it's not an ingredient in one of them, in the sense that you can have that kind of ingredient in a lot of different environments. But I'm talking about the ultimate one. Mm-hmm. And that, I feel, is where we're going. And it's exciting in a sense, because you can have start and stop all over the place, all this kind of going crazy and all these different expansions and everything. And then you see, okay, all of this stuff coming back to one energy. That's a lot. And it's like kind of overwhelming how massive that would be. Mm-hmm. But then you have to think about what could that bring? What does it mean? What could that mean for us as far as part of all of creation? What would that mean to have everything come back to its origin? Mm-hmm. How amazing, it would break all concepts, all boxes, all partitions.
Okay, what I just heard, I'm going to interject something. What I just heard was rebirthing from it's like this isn't going to be explained right. It's like coming back to the origin point, to rebirth based on what those former experiences were, the old memories of the rebirthing into the new in the energy that is to be. Mm-hmm. That doesn't probably make any sense. Does that make sense to you? That's what just...
It does. It does make sense, because it's an opportunity, it's an opportunity for expansion. It's an opportunity for a different set of ingredients to be made and create something entirely different, right? But yet maybe have some faint of familiarity, but so different than everything else. It's a potential, right? It's a unlimited potential of having all the ingredients that exist, right? And then what could happen? It's really kind of exciting, but again, like I said, it's courage and bravery right now is pretty much your you have to be fearless.
Yep. And I don't want to just the idea of, this is funny. They just said the idea of being fearless, and I was thinking about this, and it's like, what they're saying is just be. Like, remember saying be fearless. They're like, just be. Don't be anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be. Just be. And I'm like, oh my God, I get that vibration. I get what that means. Just be. Just be. Don't be
Mhm.
something. Don't be, you know what I'm saying? Do you know,
Yeah, we
does that make
take
sense?
some of these concepts and these things that we've heard and to just try kind of click it up to a
Yeah.
maybe a bigger understanding. Fear, they say like what fear is the opposite of love, right? And then the concept of love that we have is not necessarily just positive affection, affirmation kind of thing.
Yep.
Love, the energy that is meant when mentioned in that statement, love would be what I just spoke about. It is the totality of all that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you drop fear, you have the totality of everything that is. So being fearless is being love, or the total of all, or one.
Mhm.
You see?
Yep.
So it's being abashedly unafraid of anything with an excitement of what could be, in the sense, okay? And having no attachment to whatever it would
Yeah.
be.
That's the
Mhm.
just be. Yeah.